I would like to go and talk about some not so glorious or rosy uh, facts or news about NFT, because there is always two sides of things. Now, they do have some pitfalls as well. I will separate it into the creators and what for the buyers to look into. Now, all this while I have been talking about NFT for creator, never actually talking too much about the buyer. The reason is because as a buyer, it's good for you to stand and look at from the creator point of view, that why people want to create it, and what and that is usually the biggest reason why a buyer would go ahead and buy the NFT. But for this, the pitfall for the NFT, I would have it separate for two. So here it goes. Now for the creators, there's a few things for you to watch out for. What actually you are selling? Are you selling only the NFT, or you are parting your intellectual property together with your IP NFT as well? Are you going to send your actual physical artwork to the buyer? Are you giving up your display right as well? And if you're giving up your display right, is it for a period of time or indefinitely? And if you are minting the NFT, are you minting only one copy, or you have multiple copies that have limited editions? All this, right, would help to like sold copy or limited editions. It might affect the pricing for it. It's no difference than like you only have one copy of a certain product or your creations, or have a few copy of it. Then the price for a few copy of it could be slightly lower. That is nothing to do with the NFT, but more of a marketing concern. The royalty, especially earlier on, whether you want to have the royalty to go with it, usually people will want it because, for example, if I am a writer and I publish a book, I sell a copy of my book, and if that person resell the copy to someone else, as a writer, even though somebody else, another new person read my books, but I don't earn anything out of it. So this could be another way of making to help the creator to earn more for their creation as well. And when you're going to get your royalty, now do check out as well what platform they are using. Do they say that like when they're going to pay your royalty? Supposedly it should be instantaneous, because everything happens on the blockchain should be instantaneous. But if they say that they're going to pay you later, then you have to check out why, right? And the ownership of it, and you are actually owning what is actually quite related to the first questions. Who are going to be the owner? So you are going to be the creator. You create it first, then it transferred to the new buyer. The new buyer become the owners for it, and then the next owner, and all this is going to be traced as well if the person resell your piece. And where you mint your NFT, this is important as well, if it's especially when it's relations to this royalty. And for example, in some platform like OpenSea, if you mint your NFT over there, if you want to delist it, you have to pay to delist it as well. So do find out what is the terms and conditions. And I might set it over here, that is what is the terms and conditions here. But there might be changes and updates. Like I mentioned, there could be changes and updates in the terms and conditions in the platform. Do pay attention to it. And one thing I find it is quite important is, when you sell an NFT, definitely you're going to get your crypto. But once you get the crypto, do you want to cash it out to your fiat? Fiat means like our currency that we're using, USD, Ringgit Malaysia, or Singapore dollar. Because if you are not cashing it out, say I sell my artwork for 1 Ethereum now. Ethereum today might be 10,000. I'm just taking an example that are easy to understand. But tomorrow it could drop to 5,000. So whether you want to keep it for future potential, or you want to cash it out for whatever you use now, you're just happy with whatever value you get it now. It's something that you need to think about as well. So in case you think you need to know there is a potential that it drop and there a potential to go up. So if you do not want to take the risk, then you might need to go and change it to fiat. So all these kind of things is something that you need to think about. Now, as for the buyer, it's almost the same thing that like you want to watch out for. Is what you're buying. Because sometimes you might just buying the NFT only, which have no utility. You don't own any intellectual property. You can't even display whatever you get, and the buyer might not even send you a high resolutions of that work that is minting into NFT. So do understand what actually that you are buying. The soul copy or limited editions, do you need to pay royalty because you buy? Generally, it doesn't affect as a buyer that much, but it's good for you to understand that, like, you know, where whatever you pay is going, and whether it's an origin copy. Now, this happened in the real world as well. Somebody that is very good in forging someone else's artwork might just pin something exactly the same. Now, if any of you have watched White Collar, the guy inside the White Collar is very good at forging some famous painting and sell it. So there could be people who steal someone else's piece of work and mint it into NFT. So you need to be careful as well to know who is the actual person who dropped this NFT or minted NFT, and if the person is the rightful owner. Now the thing is, we can't stop people from stealing. It's just like we can't stop people in forging the art or music or anything. But whatever happens in blockchain is immutable, it's permanent. Unless we would know that, like, you know, this is the account that steal their artwork and mint an NFT. Whether it's going to expire or not. Now, once an NFT minted, the record of minting it is always there. But you could be buying an NFT that act as an invitation or as a ticket as well, and the event might be over and you forget about it. Well, you still own the NFT nonetheless, but just understand that, like, you know, there could be some other utilities that tie with it, and that also go with the number 6, any utility that it go with the NFT. And if the NFT is a sort of a security that may earn you some sharing of profit in the future, at least you know about it and you know where it's going to pay to you and when you can cash it out, and if there is terms that lock you in and all these things. So this is a little bit of working together with the decentralized finance in a sense. People might think that, like, you know, why people want to pay so much for a piece of artwork, almost 70 billion. But let me just bring you here. This piece of artwork sold for 70.5 million. Now, this is actual artwork, and it's not an NFT by CY Tom Lee. Doesn't have a title. It was sold in New York City. He is a very famous artist, and all you see is probably you and me can draw it as well. But of course, if you and me draw this, right, I think nobody is going to pay for it. Even if I pay somebody to own my artwork, probably no one want to accept it as well, because it's gonna take up space in their house to hang this up. But he's sold it because of him. He got the name for it. There is a story behind this, and what he has been through, his own life story, is why people want to own a piece of his artwork. It's like owning a piece of his story, like how you want to buy the CD of your idol, how you want to buy the poster of your idol. You just want to own a bit of their story, a bit of their lifestyle. That's why people paying for this. Another one, Mark Rothko, is sold for, it's auctioned by Christie as well, is sold for 86.9 million. As orange, I see orange color, I see red color, and probably you and me can do this as well. But probably mine can't even sell for 86 ringgit. So whether it's overpriced or whether it's oversaturated, I think it depends on what you want out of this and what you are buying. Now, I just want to quickly bring us back to the problem that we have discussed earlier on. What's the problem the creator face? According to what we have, the study says, the monetizations of their work, where the way they're collecting the royalty is slow and it's not transparent. To get more exposure is difficult. Collaboration is difficult. Their copyright, their work might be sold by somebody else. So, can NFT help to mitigate this? Now, NFT is a growing market, so there is still a lot of potential there. So if you go and try and put your artwork out there or whatever creations out there, people would want to buy it. Transparency of payment, because everything on the blockchain is transparent. If your artwork is being sold, you'll know right away. And because you know that like whether the royalty is coming to you. And because that like, you expose your artwork to another group of people, because those people who hold the cryptocurrency previously, they might not expose to the art market or any of those music, or they never exposed to that. Now they know they can get into this as well. So you kind of like broaden your potential buyer. An opportunity of collaborations. You could get yourself into the gaming industry as well, because people would probably want to have the NFT in the games. Copyright. At least you would know that who create this NFT, and you can verify if that is the rightful owner. Just want to kind of summarize it at a glance. NFT is one of a kind. You can say that is a certificate of existence for an object on the blockchain, and it can be authenticated. It has the transparency of the payment or the transactions, and is traceable. What it might not be is, it might not be the actual product, because you could be just getting the NFT. You might not even getting the actual file, high resolutions one from the buyer. It all depends what goes with the NFT. Is it the only copy? It might not be, because even though that something sold as an NFT, people can still download it from the website. Like the Bebo's first 5,000 days, I did not borrow it from the person like a Colvin who bought it. I just downloaded it from the website. So buying it doesn't stop it to be shown in the internet. It just shown that you are the rightful owner of it. And the royalties, the transparency is there, so you can know that the royalty coming to you, but it's not necessary that it have to be going to you, because please read the platform terms and conditions carefully. So if it doesn't come to you straight away, there could be handling it manually. So the originality of the artwork, do your research. Whether it's permanent, the NFT, the creation of the NFT, yes, but what is it used for? Check it out. And when the event is going to expire, if it's representing as a ticket to the event, and if it's have a utility. It might not at all. It might be just an NFT of a picture of a cat.